And now, WWE Supercard Season 6 presents NXT Worlds Collide.
Tonight, live from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, we are about to witness the beginning of a whole new franchise under the NXT universe. Who are the very best of these two spectacular brands? This is Worlds Collide.
Right, it's an incredible atmosphere here tonight. I mean, we're at the epicenter of the black and gold brand, and we are in for a very special night.
And you talk about special, there's a special feeling here tonight, Nigel. I remember being there 6 years ago at NXT Arrival. You were there the very night NXT UK burst onto the scene in Blackpool. That same special feeling those events had is present tonight. The founder of NXT, Triple H, had a vision for a global brand, and tonight this franchise comes to life. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is Worlds Collide.
And welcome back to a non-half K episode. But we are here for a bonus episode. Your boy, the Nandalorian.
And your boy, Vader.
Vader. Ooh.
Yeah, not even like the letter L. It's like the Vader.
That's pretty dope.
The Vader.
Is that based off of your newly acquired socks?
Definitely. greatest fat boy wrestler ever, dude.
It was when I was picking out your Christmas gifts. It was down between, because they didn't have that many options. So it was between that one and Kevin Nash. So
Vader, bro.
Vader. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
very
glad.
wise choice there. I don't need to be big sexy. I need to be big Van Vader. Vader.
It's weird because it wasn't even Diesel. It was Kevin Nash.
That's even worse, man. It was like not even Big Daddy Cool.
No. And they didn't even have a Scott Hall equivalent. It was just Kevin Nash.
Oh, if that was the case, they should have just did the Outsiders and gave you like Scott Hall on one leg
That's what
and
I
Kevin
thought.
Nash on the other.
That's what I thought they would have done. But
You guys are missing out. Hire us now. Come on, man.
But as long as we got Vader on there, it's all good. Welcome back to another bonus episode. So recently, the Half K crew and family just went to Houston to go visit our other boy, Marco Polo. No,
Nice.
El Marco.
Yes.
The Mark. We had the cool experience of going to Worlds Collide and the Royal Rumble. So we're going to actually break this into 2 episodes and kind of give you an overall recap, not a regular review like our regular NXT podcast, but more of a recap and a little bit more on just the overall experience of the event, I would say.
Yeah, we're going to come in here. We're going to share our experiences with our viewers. Are they viewers? If they're listeners. We're going to share our experiences with our listeners because you guys can't see us.
Yes.
Because we actually hang out with John Cena. We have John Cena's blood infused in us.
So even when right now, if someone were to take a photo, it would just be 2 empty mics.
Definitely 2 empty mics and floating phone.
Cool. But yes, season 3 is on the way, but we decided, might as well just kind of give you our recap over the Royal Rumble weekend. So yeah, so this is one part, and then stay tuned for the second part where we'll do more of an overall recap of our trip in Houston and overall the Royal Rumble. Cool. So overall, this is NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide, and this is the first special because I believe the other ones, the other Worlds Collide events were more like hour episodes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they just did like kind of like hour episodes, and I mean I'm pretty sure the event themselves weren't an hour, but they just like pulled maybe or put together like the matches that they wanted to show. They're probably like really a 2-3 hour event or so.
Yeah, and these are all matches recorded at, I believe, Access during the WrestleMania weekend.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. They weren't like their own event. It was just like, hey man, we're doing this at Access, and then they just kind of put it together.
Yeah, and that one was really more of they actually did just pick out people from every brand. It wasn't NXT versus NXT UK only. They actually had people from SmackDown versus NXT and Raw versus UK, and I think even 205 Live versus.
No, definitely. I remember they had a 205 Live in there too.
So this one is more of the first time that they're actually using the Worlds Collide brand as a WWE Network exclusive event. I
like it. I think it's pretty cool. I want to say they should use Worlds Collide in Survivor Series weekend.
That's a
as
good one.
opposed to having this like. I mean, last year's Survivor Series was really cool. Don't get me wrong, but like 5-on-5 teams is a little much. It'd probably be better if you just do like, and then it gets like NXT UK a chance to shine too. So you could do Raw versus SmackDown for Survivor Series, and then do like NXT versus NXT UK for Worlds Collide the day before or so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's also because they were definitely trying to push NXT as the third brand this year to, boost it up a bit for the USA release. But I think you're right, where if they were to kind of have the same concept with NXT versus NXT UK during that weekend, I think it would work a lot better. And yeah, you're not trying to cram in so much of the roster onto Survivor Series.
Yeah, it might make it a little bit more digestible. And then I'm actually like probably going to go on a tangent right now, but I'm wondering how the Raw after Mania is going to be now.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's not really, because since NXT is pretty much pushed as an equal third brand.
Yeah.
There's not as much emphasis on wondering who gets called up to the quote unquote main roster, since they're almost kind of pushed as equals.
Yeah.
So it'll be, we're almost there. What are we, like 60 something days away from Mania?
Yeah.
Almost there.
Yes. And I think you're right too, because even now, I think there's even excitement now on who returns or goes to NXT for the first time.
Yeah.
Just with everything with Bálor and Breezango coming back to NXT, that I think a lot of people are even excited about those moves as well, for people to come back or appear on NXT for the very first time,
Oh, definitely. It's like the main roster quote unquote call up was like a big deal, but now it's almost like not, because what did they have? What was that dude? Riddick Moss is now on Raw, so unceremoniously just threw him there with Mojo Rawley of all people to be kind of like his enforcer, which is weird because Mojo Rawley's taller than him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wish the best for Riddick Moss. So hopefully he gets to shine.
It's also kind of for like the D tier title, which is kind of
it's like, yo, man, I need a bodyguard to help me with the 24/7 title, even though I just said I wasn't gonna run from nothing.
Yeah.
Mojo Rawley talk just like that too, and he be moving around.
That's a good stereo check for our listeners as you moved around the microphone. So yeah.
Let's go, Mojo.
Cool. So yeah, let's get the show on the go with NXT Worlds Collide, or I should say NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide.
Battle of the NXTs.
Yes. So this actually came from the Toyota Center. So I thought this was kind of cool to start off, where they had, similar to when we went to New Orleans, where they had
Smoothie King.
Yeah, the Smoothie King Center. And then of course they had Mania at the Big Dome. So it's kind of cool that they had both shows on different stadiums / Coliseum, or what would you say?
Arenas
versus stadiums.
Stadium and arena.
Yeah. So yeah, this one came from the Toyota Center, and on Saturday. So it's kind of, I guess from our experience, we got there a little bit later, not too late actually, but during this time, the pre-show had already started by the time we got there. So I had to kind of just play recap and watch the pre-show once I got home. And the pre-show was Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray.
Our girl, Mia Yim.
Our Hall of Fame, our half K Hall of Famer, Mia Yim.
Yeah, we love Mia Yim. And we're Kaylee Ray fans now too.
Yes. And at this point, Kaylee Ray is the NXT UK Women's Champion as well. This is a non-title match, by the way, but just another brand versus brand match to start off the pay-per-view or special, I guess. I'm just gonna call it special.
Yeah, let's just call it a special.
Yes.
WWE Network special.
Yes. That's perfect. Since I know you didn't have a chance to watch this pre-show, sad face. when Kaylee Ray came down for her entrance, it's kind of cool. I don't know if you've noticed this with certain wrestlers where when they don't wear their shirt, and I think it kind of works for her gimmick. She doesn't wear her shirt, but she tucks it into her trunks on the side, and I kind of like that when it fits a wrestler. You know what I mean? Because certain wrestlers can pull it off where they come down in their entrance with their shirt, but then some of them, like how she did tonight,
kind of like have it draped on the side.
Yeah, I kind of liked it because it's still like you're still trying to like push your merch, but you do it in a very subtle way. You know what I mean?
I like that too because like some people when they wear their shirts, it's kind of corny.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if you could pull it off, just having it on you somewhere, at least you're not neglecting your merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good look.
Yeah, because then there's a bunch of people who have shirts, but they never wear them at all either. So then they don't really do a good job of pushing their own merch. Versus this, I think it's like a happy medium. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's there. I have it with me. I don't need to wear it.
Yeah,
because then I have to take it off, and it's like so much work.
Yeah, and you clearly see like the main parts of the logo on the shirt. So I think it's perfect.
That's smart.
So yeah, to start off the match, Yim hits like a missile dropkick and then does the roll into the corner, and she starts off the match really hot. And I kind of, when I was doing my research, I was actually coincidentally rewatching parts of the first Mae Young Classic last week or 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of ironic that these two girls came from the first Mae Young Classic, but I know before that, of course, they've wrestled each other several times on the indie scene.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just seeing their in-ring chemistry. Like I'll mention this again when we talk about the women's championship with Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm later. But yeah, just seeing these two go, you can definitely tell that they've had a history of like working with each other because they work really smooth together.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, that's really good for the ladies or for the women superstars.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of them having crossed paths on the indie scene is a little bit higher than the men.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like I'm looking at the names of the women who competed at Worlds Collide, and I know they all wrestled for like Shimmer, Shine, or Stardom. So for them to like kind of retain that chemistry is really good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's where you can kind of tell that based on how they worked with each other, because they had a lot of fundamental moves, but then when they started doing chain wrestling and started hitting their high spots, I don't think they kind of like misstepped any moves at all. Like they landed everything perfectly. There was a sequence where Kaylee Ray went on the top rope, and I think she does a trademark swanton bomb as one of her trademark moves. So she missed it, but the way that Mia kind of like timed to move like really at the last minute, and then the impact that Ray hit when like she landed on the mat, it sounded so hard, and like people really reacted based on like how well like they did the timing for that. And later on then Mia did a really good sequence when I forget what the sequence is, but she did the neck breaker as the finish of the sequence, and it was just like really smooth. And then from there she does that where she's on the apron and then like slides through the middle rope and hits the spinning DDT from the corner. And yeah, it just, I've seen her do it to a couple of the women's roster, and they kind of mistime it, but literally they did it really smooth between the two of them. So that's where I feel like their experience together really paid off at that point.
Nice.
And then yeah, one more highlight I had here was Kaylee Ray did. I did a shout out to you where she did the rollout where she had done it from the top rope and Mia Yim was on the outside, so she had actually done it from the top rope to the outside.
Nice.
And it looked really, really good, and again, really good and really safe on like how they timed that spot.
Oh yeah,
as well.
dude, Kaylee Ray can go like in her weird pose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was telling you over the weekend that I totally forgot that she was in the first Mae Young Classic because she was eliminated in the first round. But even then, you can kind of tell how well of a technical and like kind of actually like a hybrid wrestler, because she does a lot of technical and high flying moves. So she's kind of like the overall package.
Yeah.
And then over the years now that I've been following her on NXT UK, like, yeah, you can definitely tell why they decided to kind of give her the spotlight with the championship. So Mia Yim hits the first Canadian destroyer of the night. There will definitely be more to come later on. And I think when the other one comes up, I think we'll have a separate discussion about that. But in the closing sequence, Mia Yim tries to do a roll-up finish, and then Kaylee kind of reverses it and then just does the trademark heel of holding the her
Pants.
Pants, jeans. So she holds him down and gets the roll-up victory. It was kind of cool watching it back because since we had gotten there kind of at the closing sequence, you can tell the fans were invested. But when I was watching this match and all the spots that they were doing in the middle of the match, the crowd was really invested, like right off the bat. And I think that's what kind of hurt the Ripley match later on, where I think everyone was kind of gassed out from watching the DIY match and the Fatal 4-Way.
I think they might have put that I don't know. You know what? It probably might have been better to open the show with that. Like the actual show just to really kind of keep everybody red hot for Ripley and Storm. Like after DIY and Moustache Mountain, there's a little bit of a burnout.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to look for. Burnout, because watching this match, like rewatching this match over, this is at the point too where like not the entire audience had already come into the arena yet, and for it to still be kind of like filling in, like the crowd was super into this match. I think I'm gonna put it down as one of my recommendations for not match of the year, but a standout match of the year, because they just had really good chemistry, and I think it was the perfect timing because it was kind of the opening match, even though it wasn't on, it's on the pre-show. It actually felt like a regular opening match at a takeover. That's how.
Okay, I got you.
That's how I feel like the quality of the match and the response from the crowd was.
That's probably like the type of match where if it was a takeover, and then you get that NXT episode the following Wednesday, you put that one on there. Probably like as one of the higher matches up there.
Exactly. Yeah, I think sometime maybe we should, now that I think about it, we should kind of do the best of pre-show matches, because I think these are definitely, like this match, for example, I think is really going to go under the radar in the years to come, because no one really thinks about pre-show matches. But I think this one stands out to me as one of the better pre-show matches.
You know what? There are some like gems of pre-show matches out there. You remember what? Mania 31, where they had Neville and Austin Aries in the pre-show. Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure maybe we can do a couple of research and ask the listeners as well, like what are some of your favorites, and we can kind of review those.
Nice.
So,
I'm with that.
Yeah, awesome. So as I mentioned before, I think this was a really good match, and from there we started getting more video packages of the matches for the main card. And kind of funny because the main things that we heard, I did research. So the guy on NXT UK is named Andy Shepherd, and he was alongside with Charlie Caruso and Sam Roberts. And it was literally throughout the whole pre-show, every single time that Charlie and Andy were talking, like everyone was fine, like the fans weren't doing anything. But as soon as Sam Roberts said anything, literally the whole arena just started like booing him instantly. It was.
I don't know what it is, but I don't like that dude either. It's just something about him and the way he talks and his opinions that he gives. It just makes it seem so weaselly.
It's been interesting because I've kind of listened to Sam Roberts before on his podcast before he started appearing on pre-shows. And he didn't seem to have a character. I think like they're doing it on purpose, where he has like a heelish character while he's on screen.
Yeah, he does seem kind of heely.
But then, I don't know when they decided to do this. I know it kind of blew up when he kind of did the same thing where he had mentioned something about not really liking or didn't think that Bianca Belair would be a big star right off the bat. And I think that's where he started gaining some legit heat. And then I think he just worked it into the storyline now and just kind of make it kind of like Michael Cole back in the early 2010s, where he just kind of became more heel commentator. I feel like that's what they're doing with Sam Roberts now, but I don't know what the purpose is because no one really watches the pre-show. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
But anyway, I thought it was just funny that I think even Mark asked me, like, why are they booing this guy? And I kind of gave him that same recap, and he was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I thought it was funny. So we start off the show, and they do a pretty cool opening video where it was more kind of like a war propaganda style, I think, where since the main event was between the two top stables of each brand. So I think they did a really good job of, I think it was like Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
That they did like quotes and voiceovers from him. So yeah, I think it did a really good job of recapping. And I think even after the show, I had asked Mark like what he thought about the package. And he's like, oh, it did a good job of kind of, I think he actually meant the one before the match, not this opening event video package. But yeah, either way. Cool. So the first matchup is between the first matchup is between NXT's Finn Bálor versus your boy, Ilja?
I think it's Ilja Dragunov.
Dragunov? Yes.
Yeah, it's my guy, dude.
Yes. Yeah, what matchup was it on one of the takeovers?
Cesaro. He had
my gosh, yes.
Barn burner against Cesaro, dude. Dragunov is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He just goes out there and just does his thing. He's got a leather jacket, just like Finn Bálor. They look like they could have been a team, but they tore it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of since I was rewatching this special, it was actually Tom Phillips and Nigel McGuinness calling commentary throughout the night.
Mm-hmm.
And they I think that is one of my favorite pairings. My favorite pairings in the not original, but I should say when Corey and Tom Phillips were still calling NXT, that was probably my favorite pairing in a while because they just bounce off of each other really well.
Tom Phillips is a really good commentator.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I think they did it on purpose where they gave him double duty throughout the weekend just so they can be like, okay, yeah, this guy does deserve to take over the Raw spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So yeah, like I remember watching this, when we were watching this match live, that it was already a good match. And then when I rewatched it with their commentary, it just like amplified it. And
okay,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much going to give a shout out to those two guys throughout this recap. So yeah, I thought it was really good. But yeah, kind of how we mentioned, I'm not going to go into too much full detail over the match, but just seeing it live, and of course it kind of being the opener now, the crowd was super into the match. I will say that, when Dragunov did come out, like a lot, it wasn't the same pop because I think everyone's just familiar who Finn Bálor is. So since most people haven't really caught up with NXT UK, he didn't have the crowd over when, he came out and then in the initial minutes of the match. But as the match progressed and like they really started showing off their skills, that he did win over the crowd.
Oh yeah, once he started to go, and I felt like that was almost a recurring theme for the night too. Because I'm guilty of it myself. I don't follow NXT UK as closely as I follow NXT.
Yeah,
but once the crowd got to see him go, then you bought into it.
Yeah,
and it was a good back and forth match. I really appreciated like their work together. And it's like, I don't know if they've wrestled before, but you would have never guessed if that was like the first time because it just looked polished.
Yeah, no, exactly. And throughout the match, I think, all the spots that they did, but then the spot that I think everyone just finally accepted him and, he won over the crowd was his coast to coast spot that he did. Yeah. That was definitely the spot where like, I think there was like a, this is awesome chant and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah. Towards the end of the match, I think Bálor just hits the coup de grace, right? I believe
for the finish.
Yeah.
I think he went coup de grace and then hit the 1916.
Yeah.
That seems to be like his combination right now, and I appreciate that because like the coup de grace is dope, but it's a little lackluster. But seeing him hit that DDT when people get up there, right? It's a great finish.
Plus, I think it's more of a heel way of winning the match too.
Yeah, pick somebody up, drop them on their head after you already drop kicked them in the chest and stepped on them. It was like, all right.
Yeah. So I think that definitely fits his character currently. So yeah, overall, like I think this was a really good match and definitely a really good opener to the event. Afterwards, then we have a pretty funny interview segment between Kathy Kelly and the grizzled young veterans and the Broserweights. This definitely got a huge pop throughout the whole segment because of course, we have the combo of Pete Dunne and your boy, Matt
Bro, joint manipulation, baby.
Yeah, as the internet calls them.
Which so good. And then they make all the innuendos.
Yeah, like, I think that's what was really good is that Riddle, or I should say before that, of course, the grizzled young veterans cut a promo and was mostly Zach Gibson who was doing the talking. But
yeah, because James Drake looks like Kevin Sorbo.
You brought it up, and I was like, oh, now I can't unsee it. But yeah, like I really like Zach Gibson on the mic, and of course he does a really good heel promo. But then when Kathy goes over and talks to the Broserweights, it's Matt Riddle just being Matt Riddle. And right now, I think I haven't seen the latest episode, but I still like the fact that they are keeping them as a team right now, and that they do the perfect like straight man and comedy man combo.
Oh yeah, no, they're great at it. Like Dunn just sits there straight face, and then like he starts to talk, and he's got his polished accent.
Yeah,
and then he's like, if I could be blunt.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, the audience just ate it up, and yeah, they just do like their team pose at the end of the promo, and yeah. But yeah, I really like this combo, and I think kind of what we mentioned before when we were talking, I think on the plane or whatever, where it's kind of cool that it seems, at least for the NXT brand anyway, where the top guys seem like they're getting like an extended break, not a break, but a little bit more relaxed schedule during this holiday, like from December to January, because when they do the Dusty Road Classic, they seem to pair, like last time they had paired Ricochet and Black together.
So random.
Yeah. So it seems like they pair like the top single guys from the brand together during this time of the year to kind of give them a little bit more of an extended break, so they don't have to do these over the top single matches.
I think you're right. Bálor and Joe for the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So it seems like they do it, and it's also, I don't know if they're on their way out to like go to Raw or SmackDown, but that's also like another indication too of when these guys have been kind of on the main event scene for NXT, that now they're kind of just pairing them off so like other people can kind of take that main event spot in the meantime. So really good promo to kind of just do a little bit of pacing relief after such a good match.
Yeah, a little bit of a calm down, let us like breathe and laugh for a little bit before getting into the next match.
Oh yeah,
which was, now that I'm looking at it, not that long, but just full speed ahead from like the opening bell.
Yeah. So this is definitely the match that I have the most notes down because it's the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, the new rechristened NXT Championship, because it is the champion, or I'll go in order, where it's NXT UK's Jordan Devlin versus NXT's Elijah Swerve Scott, NXT UK's Travis Banks, and the NXT Cruiserweight Champion himself, Angel Garza. And I believe it was the same day. Of course, we didn't see this, but I think it was on WWE.com where they had shown that he was getting the new
redesigned belt. It doesn't say WWE anymore. They put a black strap on it. It says NXT, still silver plates. But I think it has like some purple accents in it, just to still kind of.
I think it has purple in the middle of it.
Yeah, just to still reference the fact that it was purple.
And I now that I think about it, yeah, I think it's a decent amount of time since, because I believe the Cruiserweight tournament was in either 2015 or 16. Because
it was a while ago.
Yeah, because like I had mentioned earlier, I was rewatching the first Mae Young Classic, and that happened in 2017. So I know the Cruiserweight tournament had happened before that.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a matter of time, and yeah, ever since they renamed it to the NXT title, I think it only made sense that they were gonna like do a redesign sooner or later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if these are in the correct order, but I will just mention some of my highlights and feel free to chime in. Devlin did a really nice tornado DDT reversal on Swerve and Banks, where it was, I believe he had like been slingshotted in the air onto the apron and then reversed back in.
Yeah.
And then did the reverse or
tornado DDT.
Tornado DDT at that point. There's a part, I think, in the beginning of the match where, of course, Angel was trying to like take off his gear right off the bat, but then
everybody beat him up.
Yeah.
Like, don't you dare.
Yeah. And then later on when he finally did it, then of course the crowd popped, and then Mark was asking me like, so what was the point of that? Was that supposed to like distract people? And so it was also, I guess overall I should mention that we had gone with Jamie and our friend Mark, and Mark isn't as much of an avid wrestling fan, so it was kind of cool getting his perspective throughout the whole night of like what people were doing. And this also, he was kind of out of the loop when it came to Garza's stripping thing.
It's pretty cool when you get to watch wrestling with people who don't really watch wrestling no more, who are willing to try to understand what's happening. Because you could get people who don't watch wrestling and they'll see you and you'll be watching wrestling and they'll just be like, what are you watching? And like be narrow-minded to not really want to understand it. But then when you get somebody who's willing to ask questions and just try to understand, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So he was just asking me like, oh, was that like kind of like a finisher or something? I'm like, no, it's just to kind of like pop the crowd and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was cool that he was asking me. And I know there was a ton of spots, but at least for me, I think the move of the night basically was when Garza was holding Jordan Devlin on just like, a standard kind of like
like almost if he was going to give him a like a fall away slam or a backbreaker.
Mm-hmm. And then Banks attempts to do like a hurricanrana while he's still holding him, and then at that point Garza literally holds both guys at the same time.
Yes.
And then he holds them for a good while because at that point then Swerve is going to the top rope and he's holding these two guys while, Scott is trying to like go up there. And then Swerve does a double stomp onto, I believe, Banks at this point, and then they all come crashing down.
Ridiculous.
I was telling Mark too that during this match there was so many spots that even we had never seen before, and that was definitely one of those spots.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And then so after that, then we hit Banks then hits the second Canadian destroyer of the night, reversing Devlin's finisher, the side suplex.
That's right. Yeah, because he did that, because he does that thing where he pulls him by the arm and he's pulled him by the arm and he shot right up to his shoulders and hit him with a destroyer.
Yeah.
Like, as much as it's like an overused move now. It's really cool to see where people are pulling this out from.
That's
like,
true, yeah.
Seemingly just out of a hat. It's like, well, flipping pile drivers. Whoa, wait a minute. So, all right, flipping pile driver. Like, what, you thought you had one? Nope, flipping pile driver. Because didn't Adam Cole hit Pete Dunne with a cool flipping pile driver from the bitter end, I think.
It was at their Survivor Series match.
That was ridiculous. The flipping pile driver, Canadian destroyer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's the new cutter, and it's only going to get more and more ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think like we had talked about this before, where I had mixed feelings where I really wish it was still like an overall finisher, but I agree with you now where I think that's how people felt in the 80s when Jake Roberts was just hitting the regular DDT as a finisher, and people believed it as a finisher back then. And then since we mostly grew up with wrestling in the 90s, we had been so desensitized to it just being a regular move that I can see why there was such an uproar of people saying like, oh no, that shouldn't be like a regular move.
Yeah.
So now we kind of have our equivalent to that.
Yeah, pretty much. It was weird when you got to just see dudes like Raven and Tommy Dreamer winning matches with DDTs. It was like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's pretty plain right there when people are out there hitting like cutters and stunners.
Right. So now we're like the grizzled old veterans and feeling with
and it's like, what is this flipping pile driver? This is a regular move now? Come on, man.
And in our hearts, we're like, oh, but we remember when it was a finish.
I remember when, like, that's what made Petey Williams the coolest dude in TNA, because he was hitting the Canadian destroyer.
Yeah.
But now it's like, man, you know what's coming next? Like reverse Canadian destroyers or like tombstone destroyers. I don't even know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to have it. You're going to see it. Somebody's going to hit. I think I've seen it, but somebody hit like a double underhook Canadian destroyer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
all the future. So I watched this spot again where Devlin goes for a double Spanish fly on Banks and Garza. So when we saw it live, of course, we kind of had mixed feelings about it. But I think the way the camera shots were on the network, it didn't look that bad.
It just looked like a double T-bone suplex, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It's mostly because Devlin, I think he jumped a little bit early where it made it look like he kind of like slid off.
Yeah, it did look like he slipped.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, like how you just mentioned, it did look more like a T-bone suplex at that point, but it still looked pretty good.
At the end of the day, that was probably the better way to go about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to like trying to force two guys to hit a front flip and one guy to hit a back flip. Yeah. So, probably a little bit better to just kind of toss them both and let them flip on their own. So if it was a botch, I think they got the long end of the stick on that one.
Exactly. Yeah. So, in the closing sequence, this is pretty crazy. So bear with me. So Swerve picks up Banks on his shoulders. And then at that point, Garza is already waiting from them on the top rope. And then he hits a missile dropkick. But while that's going on, Banks is still holding on to Swerve at that point and hits a Poisarana as he's coming down.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then that got a huge pop. And then at that point, Garza kind of took advantage of it and just threw Banks out of the ring and hit the wing clipper.
Yeah.
But then out of nowhere, Devlin comes in and then just hits Garza with a strong headbutt and kind of knocks him out for the rest of the match. And then, he just picks up Swerve with his Jordan side suplex finish and gets the win. And I think what threw me off about this is from the perspective that we saw, it did look kind of weird, but watching it on the network, like it looked really smooth. And I really like how it came off on TV. I think it's, just the angle, because we couldn't really see like if it was a mess up or not. But when you rewatch it on the network, it looked perfect.
Yeah, because from where we were sitting, it almost looked like somebody was supposed to get in there and break up the count.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that it was more on our angle than anything. But like we had said, to me, this was probably match of the night. But I mean, this is saying something because we still have to go through Moustache Mountain and DIY. But I think overall, like, these guys pretty much tore the house down, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we 12 minutes and 5 seconds, you would have thought that a match of that caliber would have stretched like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, they tore it up with the time that they had for sure.
Yeah. So I really love this match, and this one is definitely going into my 2020 match of the year list. So
Definitely.
Cool. So after this, then we get the trademark the weird part is that it's not a takeover, but we're kind of doing takeover spots where we do our put in a wrestler into the audience.
Oh yeah, that's right. Is this when they show Bianca Belair?
Not yet. So this one, there's a round of these. So this is the first one where it's Keith Lee and Mia Yim, because Lee had just won the North American Championship last week. Yeah, it feels like a long time ago, even though it was like
it was really just last week.
And I think I had here, I think this is the first time where on regular NXT programming where they showed the couple together. I mean, they didn't look very coupley, but it's the first time I think that they've, outside of like those documentary style shows, I think it was the first time where they just have them on regular programming as a pair, you know? I think
you're right.
Yeah. But of course they weren't like hugging or anything like that. They were just kind of like standing next to each other. But it's kind of cool seeing finally seeing those two on camera together.
I know they're like super cute together.
Hopefully when they're both kind of like I think I mentioned before, when they ever bring back the mixed match challenge, I think it would be really cool to have all these couple pairings
they
together.
Should just like for the next mixed match challenge, they should do all couples. They have enough.
Yeah.
Just do all couples, like, and let them just have fun. Because that's pretty much kind of like what the mixed match challenge was. They were out there having fun. So just let these couples out there go out and have some fun, and that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then we get your favorites, Robert Stone and Chelsea Green.
I can't stand that guy. His ankles and his stupid glasses. Ugh. What is it? The what they call it? The Robert Stone effect, or like
Robert Stone Productions? Yeah.
Not a fan. I haven't bought in yet. It's gonna happen.
But which other pair that you said that he's already
he
made?
had Riddick Moss and Dan Matha.
Oh, right.
But they never did anything on NXT TV. Like, I see it on the NXT Instagram all the time. It's, oh, man, Robert Stone and his dudes. Oh, wow. But they just never did nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess Riddick Moss is now he lost him to Mojo Rawley, and I don't know what happened to Dan Matha again.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
Yeah, not only was he, put through the ringer with Joe on his false debut start, but yeah, I think he's been one of the longest guys in the PC now that has just been there and hasn't been, given his any type of character or push yet. You know,
It's like the Ely twins.
mm-hmm.
Wait, that was their names, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those didn't they release them or one of them?
Technically, they released one. I don't know if the other one is still around because I haven't done the research yet. But I know there was a thing where they had released one and they kept one. So everyone thought at that point that one that didn't get released was finally going to get his singles push. But I believe that's been over a year now. So I don't know if he got injured or if they just, had.
I feel so bad for all of them.
Yeah. But hopefully, if they bring back the breakout tournament, hopefully we get those two guys in it and they
Yeah, man, get that man a chance.
Yeah.
Give my guy a chance. I don't even know why he's my guy, but that's my guy.
I like him too. Yeah.
I don't even know why. He got hyped up, then he got buried by Joe, or he got squashed by Joe.
Yeah.
And then let's go, Dan Mather.
Yeah. Cool. So then we get the dream match between Moustache Mountain versus the newly formed Reformed, I should say. Yeah.
Jesus.
DIY. So I think this to me is hopefully the last time they do a reunion because they're starting to feel very Shield to me, where they kind of just keep
they get a new shirt each time.
Yeah. They just temporarily break them up and bring them back together. So hopefully I'll bring this up more later throughout the match, but yeah.
Hey man, they can't do the Shield reunion no more, so
yeah,
they gotta have some reusable reunion that they could do over and over and just put DIY back together.
Yeah. You're probably right.
People love it.
And this is all still while they're in NXT. Wait until they hit the, Raw and SmackDown.
They're going to reunite like every time they jump between Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
I have to look at this for the next like 7 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So with the video package, I thought it was kind of interesting because these two teams aren't really beefing with each other. It was just based off a Twitter post, I believe.
Yeah, it was just like, hey man, you guys want to wrestle? Yeah. Match made.
Yeah. That was literally it. And then somehow the production guys still put out a pretty decent video promo off of this, and I was like, because they hyped it up as the NXT UK founding fathers versus the reuniting DIY members. So
I still have mixed feelings about this because I just don't think Trent Seven should have been in that match. If you're gonna plug it like a founding father, you gotta put Pete Dunne in there, man. Because you might as well put the dudes who won the UK title first, or the guys who competed for it, like in the finals and had like a barn burner at a takeover. Like, I mean, they were NXT tag champions, but they hadn't even won the NXT UK tag team championships. Like, how you gonna say that Trent Seven is? That's like saying like. I mean, they did say this, but that's like saying like Sean Waltman was a founding member of the NWO. He wasn't. Like, come on, man. You can't slip this by everybody. The internet is undefeated.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But I guess half K-wise, Trent Seven is a founding father along with Tyler Bate.
Yes. Cool. So yeah, this is also an excuse to finally just give a dream match now that we're doing brand versus brand as well. So I can't really hate on it.
Yeah,
that much.
I roll with it too, especially since it was a great match.
Yeah. Also, we didn't see this because, of course, we were watching the show live. But now that I rewatched it, it was also a very blatant version to promote the Supercard mobile game because they were promoting it during their entrances where they were just giving out the stats for DIY's cards and all this other stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that we saw it live. So.
I'm about to download that. I'm going to see what the hype is all about.
Yeah.
Start spending hella money.
I know. And then next time it's like, well, it's just me because you developed a gambling problem.
Yeah, he spent all his money playing a WWE Supercard. He's homeless.
Yeah. All right. To start off the match, we have some really good chain wrestling between Gargano and Bate. And to start off the match, they're doing it and they're still being very friendly with each other because, like, as we mentioned, there's really no beef between the two teams. And then we even have Ciampa and Seven do a bunch of fun spots with
they did a little pose down. They were both showing how buff they are. And then they had they have Ciampa and like Trent Seven do a pose down, and Trent Seven was like, "Nope, not doing that."
Yeah.
Nope.
It was they were doing the mustache pose down first, and then once Ciampa did like the gun show, then afterwards Trent was about to do it. He was like, "Nah,
you know what? No, he's a bigger man for that."
Yeah.
Shout out to Trent Seven for that one for sure.
Yeah. And then finally when they started getting a little bit more violent and start being more competitive, both members of DIY throw both members of Moustache Mountain on top of the announcers, the commentators' tables, and then Ciampa does his clap thing.
Oh yeah, where you like clap, pats himself on the back.
Yeah,
and then Gargano sat next to him and started doing the clap, pat on the back. It's cute.
Yeah. So I thought it was cute, but then I also thought about like, this is coming off the guys who have been feuding for like 2 years. And then, so to me, of course it's Worlds Collide, so it's not like a takeover or a pay-per-view, but it just felt very house showy just because you had these two guys who like literally were, I don't even think Candice LeRae is still cool with Ciampa, but Gargano is all in at this point.
Buddy, he bought back into. He's like, yeah, man, you're gonna get Goldie back and everything, all that stuff.
Yeah, so it didn't bother me that much, but when you half K it and you're just like, yeah, you guys just had like a blood feud for the last 2 years. That
they're out there trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
power bombs on the floor. He did his fools like choke him out with his own knee brace.
Exactly.
Come on, man. And now y'all, we're buddies again.
Yeah.
Clap, pat your back.
But
barn burner.
But yeah. And then I really like the fake out between where DIY was about to, do their meet in the middle, I think is what they call it. And then actually I should say before that, Seven does his fake chop attempt, and then Gargano looks like he tries to block it and then tricks him and then does the DDT. Yeah. I really like that spot, and I think Gargano and Seven did a really good job of.
For the record, he got that from Arn Anderson.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Arn Anderson special right there.
What were they called?
The Brain Busters.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a Brain
there
Buster.
We go.
Yeah.
Classic.
So, and then Seven, I really like Seven though, as much as like we gave him stuff for the Founding Fathers thing.
No, I can't front either. I really like Trent Seven myself.
He hit that really nice sequence where he did the roll up power bomb and then cartwheeled out of it and then did the clothesline sequence. And it's just super smooth.
Dude, Trent Seven can go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make no doubt about it. Trent Seven can go. His placement in this match is still questionable, but he showed you why he belonged.
Yeah. And then they try to do later on in the match, they try to do the meet in the middle spot, which is the running knee and super kick combo.
Yes.
But then Seven actually protects Bate from it happening. So then when they try to attack him there, then they both fake him out with bop and bang.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a really good sequence because afterwards then they hit the burning hammer knee combo.
Yeah.
And then Ciampa is still able to kick out and it got a huge pop from the audience. So I thought it was a really good sequence. So then the closing sequence is when DIY catch when they both catch Bate in the air with a double super kick.
That's right.
And then that's when Seven is all by himself, where they actually hit the meet in the middle sequence and pick up the win. So it was. I thought it was a really good match, and I think even Mark had mentioned after the show that he said it was his favorite match of the night. So,
nice. Okay.
That's like I would mention. It's a really good perspective to hear from
somebody who's not like an active wrestling fan anymore. Like he knows what he's looking for, but he's not an active fan. So like everybody in the episode, I feel like is new to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure, especially for Worlds Collide. Like I think he had remembered some people from the Royal Rumble, but I'm pretty sure everyone from Worlds Collide, I don't think he's familiar with. So
yeah, I'm looking at it again now, and I would think not.
Yeah. Even after the match, there's like no harm, or what's the word? Animosity between both teams, and they kind of do a handshake at the end. So really good sportsmanship by both teams.
Isn't it like hella interesting how you'll have right here a face on face battle, and then the last match is like a heel on heel.
I know,
battle?
that's what I was very surprised.
Very interesting dichotomy of like the booking there.
Yeah, that's but it worked somehow. It's they pulled it off, or it worked out perfectly. So yeah, afterwards, then we get a shot of. Oh, I should mention earlier in the night they showed Undisputed Era backstage, kind of preparing for a match,
undisputing things.
Yes, and then Imperium on Imperium thingy,
doing Imperium.
Yeah,
Imperium.
So I really like these segments. They have them on regular NXT programming where they kind of have the wrestlers prepping, and then they have like their flag in like this huge flag in the back, and Imperium have the same thing where they have their own team flag as they're like prepping. And I really want that flag because it was pretty cool looking where it has the NXT UK logo with Imperium, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So yeah, we then we go to the audience shot again, and we show Mercedes Martinez, which is pretty cool because she recently officially got signed by WWE. And then we get a shot of our good old friend DK, Dakota Kai. And it looked, as soon as they show her on camera, of course, everyone started instantly booing her. And then out of nowhere, Lady Kane came. Miss Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox.
Just jumping her, dude.
Came and gave her the Knox, man.
We'll definitely bring up Knox on part 2 of our coverage with the Rumble. But yeah, they did a really good job here, and the crowd was super invested in this little mini brawl that they had between.
I like their little rivalry. Like, they just beat the crap out of each other. Like, whenever they get a chance, like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah, and they kind of have pretty much stretched it from Survivor Series. So
yeah, that's a good little run for it. Like, to not have any titles or anything like that. It's just like beating each other up with a knee brace.
Yeah, they're building it up, and I think it's really really well done so far.
I wonder where it's gonna culminate. Because they just wrestled on the latest episode of NXT. I won't say anything about like the results, but they just had their I want to say like their first singles match since the rivalry began. But it's gonna continue.
Yeah, if they don't settle it at
probably Portland.
Yeah, if they don't settle it at Portland, then yeah, maybe even the takeover at Mania. So we'll see. Cool.
Are they doing one?
I don't think they have announced it, but I would assume they would. But we'll see. Cool. So afterwards, then we get a video package of Bianca, or I should say, they do a video package of Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley, and they do a good job of bringing up their history from their previous bouts. And after the video package, then we get Miss Bianca Belair in the audience, because she will be challenging the winner of this contest,
the EST of NXT. She's the most NXTist
of all NXT.
Of all NXT.
And I think this is probably the only person, because I didn't see her. Well, actually, I wasn't watching to see if she actually left. But I think this is the only person that actually stayed at least for one full match in her seat. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah, she might have stayed. I don't remember.
Yeah, because she was there, and then she was also there after the match. So I would assume that she would have at least stayed there to watch the entire match. So
one would think.
Yeah. But again, I wasn't keeping a close eye on her. So yeah, we have unlike the Mia Yim and Kaylee Ray match from earlier, this one is actually for the NXT Championship, because we have now dropped the women's portion of it.
They're actually getting really inconsistent with this.
Yeah.
It's like like one commentator says NXT Championship, the other one's going to say like Women's Championship. Wikipedia says NXT Women's Championship.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it's all over right now. But hey, NXT Championship.
Yeah. The good thing about the graphic, because I watched it. The graphic never. I don't think it ever said Women's Championship because it just shows the belt.
Okay,
so
nice.
At least the graphic is always up to date.
Nice. All right. At the very least, get your graphics straight. Son.
Yeah. So then Storm comes out, and kind of as we mentioned when we saw her again at the Royal Rumble, she looked very Natty and Alexa Bliss-ish.
Yeah, out here looking like she took some of Natty's gear and cut it to make it look like Alexa Bliss's gear.
Yeah.
I like Toni Storm.
Yeah, I really, really like Toni Storm here. But yeah, this one as well, I'm not going to go over every spot, but as I mentioned before, they've worked together on the first matches in NXT UK for the initial women's tournament. And as you can tell in this matchup, they have really good chemistry. They Rhea kind of does like what I call the female version of the Three Amigos, where she does the clothesline and then picks her up and then does another clothesline and then finishes it off with I think a crescent kick.
You're right.
So I just anytime any wrestler does like
repeated moves.
Yeah. I just call it the Three Amigos,
man. So that's her brutality.
Yeah. Then Storm hits Ripley with a really good suplex into the turnbuckle, which she sold really well. And after that, then Storm hits a really nice delayed DDT, kind of what we just mentioned, where I would have believed it as a finisher because the way that she sold it. And I don't know your perspective on it, but I like it when smaller competitors hit a DDT like that on a taller person, because it just makes it look more elevated once they're like in the air. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, when like if you get somebody who could get DDT'd and they throw their body into it and like get spiked, like who else used to get DDT? Rob Van Dam gets DDT really good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you could just like get somebody small to spike somebody big, it always looks good.
Yeah. And then kind of vice versa, where when it's someone tall doing it on a shorter person, I really like when Ripley hit when she applied the standing cloverleaf, because of the reverse effect, because since Storm is a little bit shorter than her, it just gives it more elevation as she's holding
it's like when Brock used to do the Brock lock.
Yeah.
Was it the stretch muffler? Yeah, so then you could like kind of ragdoll little people like that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so then in the closing sequence, then Storm actually tries to go for her version of the frog splash and fortunately misses. And then Rhea hits her with the Riptide for the finish.
Pump handle slams.
Yes.
Pump handle.
But yeah, kind of how I mentioned earlier, like these two, again, work really well with each other. But what we mentioned earlier, where if this was placed a little bit earlier in the card, I think the crowd would have been a little bit more receptive to it.
I think they had a pretty short program too. Like it was only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But whereas like the Fatal 4-Way was 12 minutes, it sent longer.
Yeah.
This one was 10 minutes, but it really felt a lot shorter than that. It almost felt really rushed. So I kind of felt bad from there. They didn't really get to fully like explore what that rivalry could have been. Because I mean, I imagine they're gonna run it back though somehow.
Oh yeah.
Since Storm has 2 wins over Ripley right now?
Yes.
To Ripley's 1. So yeah, like Ripley has to like catch up or exceed like that right there, just to kind of like legitimize her run.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's definitely a rematch later down the road after
she dismisses Belair. Maybe you do a triple threat after that.
I think probably even after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like if she still holds on to the title after WrestleMania.
I think so. I think she'll have at least maybe a 6-month run with the title.
Yeah.
I can't really see any reason for her to drop it to any of the ladies right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. No, I think that's definitely, and how you mentioned, maybe at that point too, they'll have more of a kind of like tension and actually build up a storyline. And then so one of them may be a heel and face to kind of give it more of a stronger dynamic as well. So cool. So before we get to the main event, we get or I should say after this match, then Belair is still at ringside, and Rhea and Belair kind of get into like a little shouting contest from the ring to the fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like they're really building up this matchup for NXT TakeOver Portland. So right before this, then we cut to the broadcast team, and they had mentioned that something had happened during the match. And then they kind of replay it, and they're interviewing Johnny Gargano backstage. And then our boy Finn Bálor out of nowhere just goes like, "Hi, Johnny." And
"Hi, Johnny," and clobbers that fool out of nowhere.
And then my favorite spot where I was just like laughing is when they were trying to break him up. He was like, "Get your hands off me.
Get your hands off me." Messing with the Finn man.
Finn just like throws one of the security guys over like a table as well. And
he threw him hella for it too. Out there messing with Phineas Bálor. Don't you ever.
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't watch this week's episode of NXT yet, but it seemed like Tyler Bate was, really stopped the brawl from continuing. And he had yelled at him saying like, "This is not your fight." And that was it. So I don't know if if it's just like a thing just to break them up, or if they're actually going to do like a mini like match between Bálor and Tyler Bate here. So who knows?
We'll see. Hopefully, that'd be a dope match.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
they should be getting to that.
yeah. Cool. So then, we have our main event of the show, which is the Undisputed Era of Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Mr. Bobby Fish, and Mr. Strong.
Yeah, Roddy Strong,
Mr.
Strong. Marina Shafir.
Yes. Versus the NXT Super Brand, or I should say the NXT UK Super Stable of Imperium, which is Walter, Fabian Eichner, Marcel Bartel, and Mr. Alexander Wolf, formerly of Sanity.
Yes. Fabian Eichner, formerly of the Cruiserweight Classic, which I don't understand how this dude got to 205 pounds when that dude is a walking muscle.
Yeah. I was telling Mark about this during their entrance, that I was telling him, like, yeah, Eichner used to, because I think it was Drake who was refereeing this match, and I was telling him, like, when he first started off as a cruiserweight, and he kind of had like Drake's like upper body. And then I told him, like, yeah, over the last couple of years, he gained that muscle mass. And Mark was like, wow, that's really impressive.
That's a big dude. You know, I really like Imperium. I like them a lot. I think it's rude as hell that they got all these dudes from all the countries of the Axis powers.
Yeah.
But and I really don't know how they got away with doing that in the UK.
Yeah.
It works, and they're like really dope.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a really cool group of 4 dudes who wrestle good, and they just put them together against 4 dudes who wrestle good.
Yeah.
That they just put together.
Yeah.
So it's just like these random, almost seemingly random put together teams are really good.
And you got to think about the dynamics too. Like, obviously, I'm not as familiar with the Imperium's indie work, but of course, we all know. We were just talking about this the other day with Undisputed Era basically being Team ROH.
Yeah.
So we know their back history of like being able to have great chemistry with each other since they've worked with each other for years.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what, Cole and O'Reilly were a tag team, and then I forgot what they were called though, but they were a tag team, and then Fish and O'Reilly were Red Dragon, and then I think Strong either tag team with one of the dudes there at some point, or they just all crossed. I know they all crossed paths in ROH.
Yeah.
Adam Cole was also in the Bullet Club, and it seems like people forget that all the time about him, that he was a Bullet Club dude.
I'm pretty sure like most casual fans don't know that. Yeah.
He was a Bullet Club dude. So it's like when you look at like Bálor and Styles all the time, it's like, well, what about Cole?
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think I even realized that just a few years ago too. So I don't claim to be a super New Japan mark if I didn't know that. I just
like to know all the dudes who are in the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And now I've got my eyes on dudes who were Ingobernables.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're scattered around taking over stuff too. So you got to watch out for these stables, man.
Yeah.
Real sneaky.
For real. But yeah, Mark was even saying that he really liked Imperium's entrance, just, of course, of the theme song and their mannerisms during the entrance.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
So it's kind of cool because, like how you just said, like, both stables are just amazing wrestlers, but they bring something unique to the big stable group where you have Undisputed Era, who are all really good wrestlers and can back it up, and that's why they're super cocky. And then you have the opposite where they're super professionals and they're super good.
They just back it up.
Yeah. So it's like the same mentality, but just going about it different ways. And that's why
really cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Both heels too.
Exactly. And I had seen on our Twitter account where a lot of people, when the Survivor Series first happened, they had thought that this matchup was going to happen. And in my mindset, I was like, it would be cool, but I don't think it would make sense to have this big stable versus stable match during Survivor Series, because you already have, how we mentioned, where the Survivor Series is already stacked up enough that it would kind of get lost in the shuffle. And in my mind, I was like, it doesn't make sense either as a WrestleMania match.
No.
So then now when Worlds Collide was first announced, I was like, that's exactly where they're going to do it.
That's really dope too, but I'm just thinking right now that they may have jumped the gun, and they could have done it at War Games. They might have jumped the gun with this one, unless they want to kind of like test the waters right now, and then they'll build up to it later. Like you could have Cole at some point challenge Walter for the UK title, and then they have some kind of beef. Because at some point, all these fools are going to lose these belts. Over the course of, I feel like leading into WrestleMania, none of the Undisputed Era is going to have any belts, I think. And, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm saying it, they might have missed their chance to do that War Games, because I feel like they might take the Era up to Raw or SmackDown soon.
I think that's why, with the thing people have brought up on Twitter, I think that's why I didn't think it would be a good move, because War Games was the night before Survivor Series. So I don't think it would have made sense, because it would have got lost in the shuffle. If War Games had happened like in the summer or something, I think that's where it would make.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. That would have been a good like build up to it, especially since at this point, like the Era has so much beef with other people. They have to kind of resolve those beefs before they could fully beef with Imperium.
And that's what I felt like what was going on, because they were going for the Dynasty Championship run, that just kind of throwing them with Imperium at War Games didn't really make any sense at that time. But I agree that once they had quit these mini feuds to get all the titles and then heading into World Collide, I think it made perfect sense to have them finally go after each other. Cool. So we like I said, I won't go to every spot, but my favorite spots of this match were also when at the very beginning, when Kyle was kind of like running the gauntlet and fighting all of Imperium, that after a while he got really cocky and mocked Walter with like a Frankenstein type pose. And then right after, then Marcel was able to get the hot tag to Walter, and then Walter destroys all of Undisputed Era and then mocks Riley right back with doing
Riley mocking him. That's great.
So I thought that was pretty funny. Like, just it's one of those things where Walter is still being respected as this really what's the word I'm looking for?
Imposing figure.
That I think it was good where, he just throws in a shade of comedy. It's not where he's fully like Rusev comedy now,
It's just like, oh, okay, you want to make fun of me? Like, I'm going to beat you up and then make fun of you after that.
So unfortunately, this is the scary part where I had to kind of watch how it happened. So what had happened was Strong and Fish were hitting a double combo move where Strong had done a chop and then Fish had done his trademark kicks. And then so Alexander Wolf was on his knees at this point, and as Roddy hit him with the chop, then I guess it was just bad timing and everything, where Fish actually catches Wolf right on the chin, and literally like when you see the replay, it's just like he's instantly out, like he just instantly gets knocked out, and that's where they thankfully the referee was on top of it right away and just called it at that point.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at that. I was wondering. I was like, man, what happened to that fool?
Yeah, they caught him like square in the jaw, and you can just see his eyes just like they're glazed and gone at that point. So I'm really happy that they really got on top of that and really just took care of him right then and there.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, good job, refs.
Yeah. But then the rest of the match, there's, like I said, a bunch of good spots, even though we had a 3 versus 4 dynamic at that point. But what I really liked about this match is during the middle part, Roddy and Walter hit a spot where Roddy hits a crazy suplex on Walter and takes him out on the announcer's table. So that kind of puts Walter out on the sidelines for a little bit, maybe I would say 3/4 of the match. And then at that point, then it creates a 2 versus 4 dynamic. But what I really liked about this is that at that point, unfortunately, because Wolf is gone, but this also gave the spotlight for Barcel and Eichner.
Oh,
where they were finally able to kind of showcase to them in like a main event spot of like what those guys could do. And they really held their own during that match, and they got probably the biggest pops afterwards because Eichner got the shine, and like, of course, he hit his trademark cruiserweight moves where he does his
like double jump moonsaults, and like that guy can go.
Yeah.
Eichner can go,
and I'm really glad because it definitely finally gave him the spotlight where people had only seen it at the cruiserweight tournament or in some of the UK
random episodes, or maybe even regular NXT.
Mm-hmm. But now that he got this spotlight in the main event, that people were like, "Whoa, this guy can really go!" And he in the closing sequence, he even hit that spot where everyone else other than Fish and Walter were on the outside, and then he just like did his trademark quick climb to the top rope and did like a big splash to
it was almost like a turn frog splash cross body block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I can go, man.
Yeah. So after that, since all those guys are on the outside, then Walter comes back into the match, and Fish tries to hit a moonsault but misses, and then Walter quickly hits his like shotgun drop kick, kind of like similar to Bálor, but he literally just throws his whole big body at him, and then he hits the cradle power bomb for the victory. And I really like how he does it because he really like gets over the guy.
That's such like a like, I forgot who did that in Japan, where you hit that power bomb and they like slide over him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, right. It was in like WCW versus NWO.
Yeah, it's one of those dudes. I forgot his name. He wore black pants, not in the video game, but like in Japan, he wore black pants with like yellow side things on it. I forgot what it was though. It wasn't Misawa, but it was the guy who always fought against Misawa. It was the one who caught the burning hammer from Misawa.
Yeah. Nice. But so Team Imperium picks up the victory. So let me actually go through this because I actually didn't keep track. So if we're not counting the pre-show match, we have Bálor for Team NXT, so that's 1. Then we have Jordan Devlin with 1, so 1-1. Then we have DIY, so that's 2. Then we have
Ripley.
Oh yeah, so then we have Imperium at the end.
If you count the pre-show, it's 3-3.
Yeah. So that's, I think, that pretty much put both brands at a good standing point where they kind of evened out at that point.
Yeah, no, that's a good one because since they're kind of both on the same level of where they are, you don't really want to bury one or the other.
Yeah.
And since like NXT got most of the wins on the main show, but Imperium got the big win,
exactly,
it kind of balanced out really good.
Yeah. And like I said, due to the unfortunate events with Wolf, it kind of helped them in the long haul because then they kind of came over it.
It made them seem extra hard.
Yeah.
That was a really good event, dude. And like, it was so easy to digest.
Yeah.
Like it got straight to the action with like all the matches. There was no fluff. They had like in between segments that were like kind of funny. And I think as a whole, it was only like a couple of hours.
Yeah. It was only 2.5. So
that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. I really liked it. It was an interesting mix because when I rewatched it, it kind of felt like the other WWE Network exclusives, like when they did the one in Japan, the one in Australia, but it had a little bit more oomph to it where it did feel like a takeover, but it wasn't officially a takeover. But a lot of stuff happened on the show that made the storylines continue, so it didn't feel like a house show. You know what I mean? So I think overall, I really liked it, and I really think that this, in a couple of years, is going to be one of those, again, hidden gem pay-per-view type shows, just because no one really expected it, especially before the Royal Rumble and before like an upcoming takeover, that when people rewatch this in a couple of years, they'll be like, yeah, that was a really good hidden gem special overall.
Yeah, I'm almost feeling like they might be double dipping a little too much, having this takeover and then like the following month like that. It might be a little overloaded, but like takeovers never disappoint.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, we'll see, and it's gonna be good. So
yeah,
man, I can't wait.
Does it for Worlds Collide, but we will be back with our second episode where we kind of recap our overall experience at Houston and the Royal Rumble. It won't be as detailed as this episode. This will be a little bit more overall our experience and just live interaction with the pay-per-view,
Yeah, it'll be more kind of just us sharing our experience. We're more of a NXT based show. So it makes sense for us to go more in depth with Worlds Collide. But it just so happens that we went to the Royal Rumble too. We want to tell you guys about it. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, tune in to that episode. It will go up at the same time as this one. So once you finish listening, if you made it this far, thank you. And then yeah, feel free to check out that episode as well. So that will do it for us. Your boy, the Nandalorian.
And Elevator Hefe.
And yeah, I would say my only plug is the podcast itself. And don't worry, season 3 of our regular podcast is coming up very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, did you have any other plugs for yourself?
I do. Shout out to Murderverse Radio. You can see them on YouTube /Counterproductive. It is a battle rap podcast by battle rappers. Pretty cool stuff. Guys on the show are Ryan Watkins, Gray Fox, and Tantrum, all Bay Area guys. They do a real good show. They talk about a variety of different things, man. They cover like everything from like wrestling to just like some of their experiences doing different stuff. And they talk a lot about battle rap, and you know, it's a real cool show. Come on every Sunday at 8 p.m. So once again, Counterproductive /Murderverse Radio. Or no, my bad. YouTube /Counterproductive. Okay. You can find them streaming live on YouTube every Sunday night.
Cool. Yeah, I'll make sure to put the links in the description as always. Cool. So that will do us for this episode, and we will see you next time.
Episodes.
Yes.